Good afternoon, distinguished panelists, members of CAP, and everyone present. I'm Nidhi Srivastav. I'm a member of Foundation for Campaign Against Plastic Pollution, also known as CAP in short. On behalf of CAP, I would like to welcome you all to this webinar on strategies for curbing plastic pollution. This is the 9th webinar that we have organized with a view to create awareness about various issues relating to plastic pollution and to evolve practical solutions to mitigate and gradually eliminate this scourge from our beautiful planet. CAP is an NGO whose mission is to significantly reduce plastic pollution in the environment through creation of awareness about the harms of plastic pollution and to educate people at large about the safe disposal of plastic waste. The members of CAP come from a wide spectrum of fields. Our aim is to convert our mission into a people's movement through which we change the mindsets of the people and bring about behavioral change towards plastic use and its safe disposal. We have to become smarter and use plastic wisely and judiciously. The strategy of reduction, reuse, and recycling should be able to provide solutions to the problem of plastic pollution and pave way for the sustainable development of our planet. As we all know, plastic pollution is a mammoth problem and a great environmental challenge this year, this day and age. During the pandemic, we saw an increase probably in the use of plastics. And now that the durations and the frequency of lockdowns is reducing, we have to be even more careful about how we go forward. Already, there is 8 billion tons of plastic litter in landfills, unregulated dumps, and the environment, the bulk of which has contaminated our oceans, besides contaminating soil and other water bodies. We're still adding around 8 million tons of plastic litter every year to our oceans. At current rate, by 2050, there will be more plastic than fish in the oceans. It has health hazards for humans as well as marine animals, seabirds, terrestrial animals as well. These toxic substances can leach into our food when served in plastic plates and bowls. We know the litter does not decompose easily and takes hundreds and thousands of years to decompose. It also disintegrates into small particles called microplastics, which find its way into our water, food, and even air. We definitely do have to curb this plastic pollution at the earliest. And this can be done and even reversed if governments, industry, businesses, NGOs, and individuals cooperate with each other. Everyone has an important role to play. As is universally accepted, any strategy to combat plastic pollution essentially revolves around 3 R's, that is reduce, reuse, and recycle. The aim of today's webinar is to listen to the opinion of expert panelists on what are the building blocks of these 3 R's. But there can be no disagreement that all of these components are essential for combating plastic pollution, and they complement each other. We will hear from distinguished speakers as to what governments, government organizations, industry, businesses, and individuals need to do as part of the concept of reduce, reuse, and recycle. With these words, I would like to welcome Dr. Satyendra Kumar, Director, Ministry of Environment, Forests, and Climate Change, Dr. Prashant Gargar, Member Secretary, Central Pollution Control Board, and Ms. Kanchana Virakun, Founder President of Eco-Friendly Volunteers, and our distinguished panelists who have spared their valuable time and made it convenient to participate in this webinar. I also welcome all members of CAP present and all other attendees to this webinar. I hope you will ask a lot of questions during the webinar and make it all the more interesting. I would like to request everyone to keep themselves on mute during the webinar. If you have any questions, please do type it out in the chat box, and we will come to the questions towards the Sorry about that interruption. I hope I'm audible now.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So as I was saying, please keep yourselves on mute, and any questions go in the chat box, which will be addressed at the end around 5:15. Till then, we will listen to the experts that are there. We also request your feedback on the webinar. If you're willing to participate in the feedback, please write your email address in the chat box and we will send you a brief questionnaire. With this, I would like to introduce Mr. Satyendra Kumar. Sir is working with Ministry of Environment, Forest, Climate Change as director since 2017. Presently, he is looking after policy issues relating to management of waste in environment-friendly and sustainable manner. He is involved with the issues related with single-use plastics as well as tackling of plastic pollution. Apart from it, issues related with solid waste management, battery waste management, and effective utilization of ash by thermal power plants are some of the issues that he's currently engaged with. In the past, he has worked on air pollution management, formulation of NCAP, climate change, sustainable coastal management issues. So could you please let us know your thoughts on this?
Thank you very much, distinguished panelists and all my dear friends who have joined for today's event. And we all know much about this plastic issue. There has been a growing awareness about it, not only in India, but across the globe. I'll just briefly touch about this issue and then we'll straight come forward to the topic that is intended to be discussed today. So the plastics, because of the increase in the use of plastics, especially the single-use plastic items, we all know the amount of plastic waste is increasing. In addition to it, we have seen, particularly in India, there has been a rapid urbanization, which has also got a share in increasing the amount of the plastic waste. Coupled with the increased industrialization of our country, the increased rate of industrialization of our country in recent years. And there are other factors also, like the unsustainable lifestyles and consumption patterns that also contribute to increase the amount of the plastic waste, particularly with regard to the single-use plastic items, not only in India, but across the globe. Now, having said that we all know that we have got a very big problem of this plastic waste, which has got all sorts of adverse environmental impacts if it gets littered or if it remains uncollected and it's not properly tackled with, if it's not properly processed. So the idea is how to go about it and to see that whether we are going about it in a manner we should have addressed it. So there are certain basic principles that have been adopted across the globe, and that too in India, that guide the approach, that guide the policies, that guide the programs, that guide the regulations or any notifications. And the fundamental to this is kind of a set of principles, which I say as, and we may see it in many literature as 6 R's. When we say 6 R's, the 6 R's are the reduce, as has already been mentioned, reuse and recycle. I add to it recover, redesign, and remanufacture. So these are the 6 R's that govern all the stakeholders, not a particular stakeholders, each of the stakeholder who is part of this plastic ecosystem has to design, has to act on these principles. And these principles do not apply to just what you say, the governments, all the stakeholders, whether it be the government, whether it be the citizens, whether it be NGOs, whether it be industry, they all have to adopt these principles in their approach to tackle the plastic pollution. We all know about the Plastic Waste Management Rule 2016. And further, we all know about this year's Plastic Waste Management Amendment notification that was issued on 12th of August, a couple of months back. That was issued, that has primarily the focus on furthering the first principle of reduce. When we say reduce, the onus is on the industry, on the governments, on the citizens to reduce the use of single-use plastics. And as part of it, a ban on certain select plastic items has been put in place from July 2022. So this is deeply embedded. When we talk about citizens, we need to, as citizens, we need to reduce the use of avoidable single-use plastic items by bringing the changes in our behaviors and attitudes regarding the use of plastic items. When we talk about reducing by way of putting a ban, there has been and always and would be always a stakeholders involvement in the process, and based on that the further course of action has been taken, would be taken. Now let's say the two other principles to reduce the plastics as well as the plastic waste is based on the EPR mechanism, the extended producer responsibility mechanism. The bedrock of this mechanism has been not that the producers, brand owners and importers are mandated to take back the plastic packaging product which they put in the market, but the bedrock is furthering the principle of recycle and the principle of reuse. And as you might have become aware by now that on 6th of October, which got published on 7th of October, the Government of India, Ministry of Environment and Forest has come up with draft regulation on extended producer responsibility for the plastic packaging waste. I'll try to just correlate this today's topic with what has been already been put in public domain for comments for 2 months. Seeing the importance of these two principles, the draft regulation proposes about recycling of the different types. It has categorized different types of plastics: rigid, flexible, and multi-layered, multi-material plastic. And the producers, brand owners have been mandated in objective terms to go for the recyclability of different types of plastics, depending on the technology that would be available, that would be techno-economically feasible. Some numbers have been given, like for the rigid plastics, whatever the producer or the brand owner will be putting in market, 80% has to be recycled by them. In case of flexible plastics, it has been made 60%. In case of multi-layered plastic, it has been made 60%. The producers, importers, brand owners, which I'll term as PIBOs, have been given a kind of lead time. It will not come in one go. A kind of lead time to develop the infrastructure, to develop the collection, recycling ecosystem. Some lead time has been given, and these highest numbers of recyclability have to be achieved by 2026, 27. And not only this, to further the principle of reuse, particularly which is possible in case of rigid plastic packaging products. This time, it has been proposed to put a mandate of reuse with regard to certain plastic packaging products, which if you and which is like for a plastic packaging product with a capacity of 4.9 liter or kg, the recyclability will go up to some 75%. I don't remember it correctly. Maybe it goes up to 85% in 2026, 27, starting from 70% in 2023, 24. And for the smaller volumes of 0.9 liter to 4.9 liter, that packaging, rigid packaging, this percentage will go 10 to 25. The importance is not in knowing the numbers. The importance here is proposing the principle, adopting it, mandating it, bringing it under the government regulation. We need to see that how we are going to get the feedback from all these stakeholders. But this is, I'm just explaining, putting forward that these are the bedrocks on which the policies have to be framed, on which not only the governments, but the other stakeholders have to work on. They have to come on board. We all have to work in unison to further this thing. So with these three principles, we need to achieve a kind of a strategy where our 100% of the plastic, which is there put in the market, gets back. So 80% through recycling, and the remaining 20% will not go and get littered, but the PIBOs have been mandated to collect it back and take it for the final end of life disposal through various means, like in use of by its use in road construction projects, waste to energy projects, waste to oil, and in cement plants in co-processing. So, or if in any other manner that is not impacting the environment adversely. So this is the kind of thing, when we say that these are the fundamental principle, when we say we need to have recycling, then we need, as a government, as industry, as citizen, we need to understand that we need to have adequate recycling capacity in our country, so that our aim of that recyclability gets achieved. And by achieving recyclability, we are not only achieving a sort of only that plastic gets back. It's promoting the principle of circular economy. And when we get back what we have put in, if we say that it is recovery of the valuable plastic from the waste plastic. The moment we do this, in order to ensure that whatever is recycled and recycled plastic gets back to us, we need to have proper regulations in place so that this plastic gets used up. We cannot just keep on creating recycled plastic, and if there are no avenues. So the draft regulation that has been put in place mandates for the first time the use of the recycled content by the PIBOs in their products for different kinds of plastics, types of plastic. Like for resin, it will be 60% of the recycled content in 2026-27. Means if they would be using 100 tons of plastic in putting their products in the market, 60 tons would come from the recycled content. For the flexible plastics, this percentage is 30%, and for multi-layered, which we do not have adequate technologies, this percentage is 10%. These percentages may go up and down based on the feasibility, techno-economic feasibility, and the availability of technologies with us. So with this, I'll say that I'll not get to each of these ideas are quite deep. So I'll just say that we all need to see that how these principles are adopted by each one of our stakeholders in our day-to-day activities. When I say stakeholder, as a citizen, I see that in order to adopt the principle of reduce, I need to avoid the use of such plastic items which are non-essential. As a citizen, when I say that I need to reuse, promote the principle of reuse, I need to keep on reusing what the packaging product as many times as possible. I need to make my habit, say, to fetch the milk in our own jars or cans. And all such initiatives have started. So it's not one-way process, it's all-way process converging towards the single goal of reducing and stopping and avoiding the use of single-use plastic items. The same is true for recycling thing. So if we say recycling as a government, as industry, we need to have adequate infrastructure in the country of recycling. Right now, it's out of the 34 lakh tons plastic waste being generated per annum, we have a recycling capacity of about 10.5 lakh ton per annum, with the recycling units about 1,500 in the country. So we need to see that how we are going to scale up our infrastructure so that whatever we are trying to achieve through these principles gets achieved. So with all these things, only focusing on the strategies, only focusing on the given topic, I would like to stop here so that and if there would be questions, I would take it up. The whole idea is that we as distinct stakeholders, whether it be citizen, government, industry, NGO, or anybody, we have our ways. There are definitive principles, definitive, you can say, framework for all of us. We need to act. The need of our is to start acting. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think we got disconnected.
Thank you, sir. You were audible. Thank you so
Okay.
much. You've participated and spoken before in our webinars. You always bring new insight and as well as knowledge to what we know, just to expand it further, which is really valuable. Thank you so much for your talk. Any questions? Please put them in the chat box, or you can maybe we can address them right now. Our next in the meanwhile, I would like to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Prashant Bhargav, Member Secretary, Central Pollution Control Board. He's a thought leader and strategist in the field of environmental engineering and management. He's a PhD in environmental engineering and a Fulbright scholar in environment leadership. He has more than 30 years of diverse and eclectic experience in environmental policies, sector-specific statutory requirements and regulations, air quality policy, and urban air quality management. Not only has he spearheaded key air quality initiatives in India, including AQI and national air quality standards, but he has also delved in academic endeavors like teaching, supervising numerous grad students at SPA and IIT Delhi. He conceptualized National Clean Air Program for India and also co-authored the guidance framework for air quality management in Asian cities for Clean Air Asia. He has led India's well-known 6-city source apportionment study that guided future air quality action plans and also developed the country's first environmental data bank. With a multifaceted experience in environmental administration, academics, and research, Dr. Prashant firmly believes in democratization of environmental data. So would you please share your thoughts with us?
Yeah, thank you very much. I hope I am audible.
Yes, sir, you are.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for very elaborate introduction. I would have preferred a simple introduction, someone who cares for the environment. But thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. All the distinguished panelists and participants who have joined this webinar to discuss an extremely important environmental issue. Plastic has provided a lot of comfort and ease in our day-to-day life over the years. But last few years, particularly after introduction of plastic waste management rules, revised rules in 2016, we also started realizing the plastic, in addition to providing comfort, also gives us a lot of environmental hazard threat. Now, therefore, it is extremely important for all of us to ensure that plastic is used in a very judicious manner. Mr. Satyendra Kumar talked about 6 R's. When whatever plastic waste is produced is handled in most environmentally sound manner. I will not get into all the blocks of plastic waste management. We just try to touch upon few important aspects, particularly with reference to the activities that we have been doing or intend to do in this domain from Central Pollution Control Board. Single-use plastics, certain items, there has been notification for banning the use. This is very important step. The government is trying to put up a very good policy and regulatory framework to handle the menace of plastic waste. Now, having banned the single-use plastic certain items, we must see that all relevant elements of impact of this ban are addressed. Need to work on alternatives. When you ban certain items, we'll have to ensure that there is the right kind of ecosystem for these alternatives. There are self-help groups created, who can scale up production of alternative products. There should be strengthening in regulatory actions, meaning the industrial units, the manufacturing plants which produce the banned items are dealt strictly, they are closed down. And public awareness also is to be created, not only about the harmful effects of these single-use plastics and all the environmental hazards that it creates, make them aware about the alternative products which are available. So the entire ecosystem of this replacing banned items with alternatives need to be put in place. There are compostable plastics available now, which are biodegradable, which are compostable. There is a framework for registration for approving the kind of plastic that could possibly replace the chemical plastic material. CPCB has been trying to facilitate. We make sure that we do not only regulate but also sort of try to facilitate or try to enable compostable plastics, we have set up a portal and the entire registration process is automated. Earlier, the registration was issued for a limited period with you and then subsequent renewals. We are done away with that. And now these plastic manufacturing units are certified and allowed to operate, for lifetime, unless until there is any change in the process. So we in a way are trying to facilitate the alternatives to plastic. So for 165 such manufacturers have already been registered. Similarly, other alternative products also, we must try and facilitate that they scale up their productions and then match to the requirement of the banned items. Another aspect that I wish to touch upon is about the waste that is coming and then how do we handle this. There is a very elaborate framework for extended producer responsibility. The draft has been released very recently. It provides for or mandates each plastic producer, manufacturer, brand owner to put up a mechanism for collection and then its disposal either by way of recycling or reuse or some end use for the amount that is put in the market. Now, this EPR framework is meant for a strict implementation by all the stakeholders. Now, from CPCB, we are putting up a portal, and this portal will ensure that all the plastic waste that needs to be collected and recycled or put to some end use in an environmentally sound manner, we are able to track through this. Mr. Satyendra also spoke about the collection itself is not adequate. It's equally important that these recycling facilities develop more and more recycled plastics, come into our life. So it's a very challenging environmental problem. And what is important is that all the stakeholders, they have clear understanding of their role, including the citizen, at large. Everyone get a sense of responsibility and then contribute whatever little or more, every stakeholder can do that, and collectively we'll have to do it. From CPCB, let me again, share that we will not only try to regulate, and of course, the regulate will be very strict. If there is any violation, will be dealt very strictly. At the same time, we'll try to provide all facilitation, try to enable the entire ecosystem, which promotes the alternatives, which helps in reducing the plastic, and which also ensures that plastic waste is treated in an environmentally sound manner. So I think with this, I'll close my initial thoughts here. Unfortunately, I'll have to leave for another meeting. My colleague, in any case, Dr. Divya Sinha, who heads the Waste Management Division, will continue. She has already joined in. So if there are any questions, she should be able to handle those questions. Or otherwise, if anyone has any comments, any suggestion or any question, you can, of course, reach out to us through our email, and then we'll be happily, providing all the relevant inputs that we can. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, and all the very best for further discussion during the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you. People, if there are questions for Mr.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us, for taking out your valuable time and letting us know these really valuable points. I would request participants, attendees of this webinar to please put in their questions for Dr. Gargar as well as Dr. Satyendra Kumar, if you have any, so that we can answer them right now before we move on to the next speaker. So I'll just wait for a minute or two in case anybody has questions. And please type them out in the chat box, or you could also unmute yourself and ask the question straight up.
If Mr. Satyendra Kumar and Dr. Prashant Gargav agree, I will pass on the questions to them by email if anybody later puts the question for them, and then we'll obtain the reply and we'll forward it back to the person. So, because at the moment nobody is typing out any questions, so without any further loss of time, I will like to thank both Dr. Prashant Gargav. Actually, it was meant to be said in the end, but since you are leaving now, and also not Mr. Satyendra Kumar, very happy to announce that today he is getting his doctorate degree. So he is no more Mr. Satyendra Kumar. He is also Dr. Satyendra Kumar, for giving very, very wise thoughts on this very complicated issue of plastic pollution. So since you are hard pressed for time, I will not take much of your time. Thank you very much for your for sharing your thoughts with us to guide us as to how to proceed further. So you can, if you want to leave, you are welcome to leave. And if any questions are asked later, then we will pass on to you. And I will request Madam Divya Sinha to stay on. Maybe she will be able to answer questions that may be raised later. So with these words, I hand over back to Nidhi.
Thank you very much, Shiraza Saab.
Thank you very much.
Kindly allow me to leave.
Yeah. That's what I said.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. It was a pleasure just sharing a few things and joining all of you for this event, sir. So it's great pleasure, sir. Always a privilege, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I would now like to introduce our next speaker. She will give a talk on zero waste practices. Ms. Kanchana Veerakun is the founder of Eco-Friendly Volunteers in Sri Lanka. She has been conducting environment training programs for the last 26 years and has specialized in birds, wetlands, organic farming, climate change, and conscious consumerism, as well as sustainable waste management. She is campaigning for a zero waste lifestyle, which she has been practically living for the last 21 years in Sri Lanka and in New Delhi. She has years of experience in urban biodiversity restoration and green youth leadership for combating climate change. Ms. Veerakun is trained environment leader of Smithsonian Environmental Leadership Program at Front Royal, Washington, DC, and Conservation Leadership Program in the UK. She is also an Eisenhower Fellow. She co-founded Journeys for Climate Justice in Melbourne, Australia, and she's a co-founder of Edible Roots Foundation in India. Ma'am, could you please unmute yourself and please share with us your thoughts?
Thank you so much. And yes, I would like to share one slideshow. So will you be able to give me permission to share the slides, please?
Yes, just give me a minute. I will just adjust this.
Yeah. So thank you so much for inviting me today for the webinar. And it's really my happiness to join with you all here in India, because I'm from Sri Lanka. So I have been living here for last 4 years. And whatever environmental conservation work, I have no barriers, no country specific content. So because as a global citizen, I am trying to protect Mother Nature, and I'm trying to do my best to reduce my carbon footprint and to be a responsible citizen wherever I live. So I will be sharing some of my experiences here as well. So let me go through my slides, so then you will be able to understand what I'm preaching here and what I'm practicing especially. So let me go to the slideshow mode, hopefully. Hope you can see the slides, right? Yeah, okay. So whatever I'm saying already mentioned and said by other two panelists. So I'm not going to go in detail in that, but I will be mentioning just to keep the flow of my points, because what I'm going to talk is the same, and the plastics, and of course consciously, wisely, but my angle is individual commitment, because I really believe that we as global citizens, we have the right to maintain our responsibility, because 8 billion responsibilities are there. So if I include in that population, I believe that I have to reduce and I have to do whatever the best for the planet. So likewise, 8 billion should think that way. That is what I believe. So individual responsibility really matters for achieving a bigger picture. So plastic, as you all know and as mentioned, it is not the enemy. It is very useful material. But the issue is that whatever the way that we are using, and of course, whether we are using it wisely. So that question comes. I am sure that other two panelists mentioned about this, the how we should use these and how the government should have the regulations, etc. So it is not an enemy at all. And I'm very thankful to this material, because it is a very, very helpful material. But the thing is, humans have used single-use plastic. That is the culprit. And I believe that consumers who are using single-use plastic are double culprit. Because if one person is not fully aware about these single-use plastics, that person will be using it again and again, and the damage will be more. But if individually we can be aware of these single-use plastics and the repercussions of negative impacts of these single-use plastics, then we can think about as a sustainable thinker, and of course a conscious consumer, because it's all up to the producers and the consumers. So if the producers are producing, but if the consumers are reducing using these single-use plastics, then the production will be half. At the same time, it's vice versa. So we have to really think, everybody has to, all the stakeholders should know their responsibilities towards these single-use plastics, because that is where the waste is generated. Otherwise, there won't be such waste, because it is a resource and it is managing the resources. But at the moment, the globally we are doing is managing waste. When something is wasted, managing that would be really wasted. So we have to use these resources or manage that resource before it's becoming a waste. That is where we really have to sort it out at the origin. On this planet, only humans are the animals who are producing waste. There is no such terminology like waste among other members of animal kingdom. So human, whatever we produce is becoming a waste when we are not sorting out it at origin. So that is a crime. And me living 21 years of zero waste lifestyle, me and my family now in my home in India, including my local helper, Indian helper, who is also not putting any garbage out of our home, because all are managed either inside of our home, in the garden of our home, or we are not bringing anything that we can't manage. So that lifestyle is really, really making us proud and making us happy citizens. Because I don't know when the municipal council is coming to collect the garbage, because there is no garbage for me to give away. Everything is a resource and everything is managed by us or given to the responsible people who are recycling them. So even giving away for recycling is minimized. I will tell you why. When something is to be recycled, when it is not recycled responsibly and wasted like this, the plastic water bottles, it's such a crime. And our waterways are clogged and we are getting diseases, and ultimately it goes into the ocean. Ocean is getting polluted and animals in the ocean are dying just because of human activity. And I'm asking, isn't this a crime? We are talking about human rights. We are talking about our rights, but we are violating other animals' rights who have the same right to live on this planet. Only thing what they are lacking is they don't speak English or Hindi or Sinhala or any other language, but they do speak, they do communicate, but we are not listening to them. So they are suffering due to our waste, and at the same time we are suffering due to our waste, because all these plastics are coming back to us as microplastics or even sometimes microfibers. And all this little squid has the green spots in his body, which are the researchers proved they are microplastics. And these beads, the blue color beads in the salt, are microbeads, and they are plastics. They are coming with the sea salt. And of course, other fibers. Every time that we wash in the washing machine, when the synthetic fibers are going plastic fibers, most of the clothing has plastic fibers. They are going as microfibers or microplastic. And they are contaminating our water, and they are coming back to us, making us sick or giving us cancer. So this cycle is never ending. And whatever we put out are coming back to us. This is the reality. And no matter me or my family live in zero waste lifestyle, just because of other human doing this mistake, I am also suffering. So I can't win this battle on my own. I can proudly say I'm zero waste person, but I can't be proud because others are doing the mistakes. Therefore, still my duty should be continued to preach this and tell others not to do this mistake. But how many of humans are listening to that? How many of them are practicing? So how we can make it better should start individually, because we have to start seeing this issue differently. No matter that we blame on our policymakers or governments or our manufacturers. Yes, they have a role to play, but we have to have our own responsibility. We have to see nature as our mother and other animals as our brothers and sisters, because then at least we can do something individually or family level rather than pointing out our fingers to the others. And of course, waiting policymakers doing something by 2027 or 2030. Why don't we do it today, at this moment, right now? So that is where my point I really want to share with you is, don't delay it until tomorrow. You can do it today, because individual commitment nobody else can do. It is for you to say no to single-use plastic. I look after my own waste and I am responsible. By the time I pay and I buy something, it is my responsibility. So that is what I have to fight with, and that is what I have to manage. So the speakers introduced 3R first and then 6R. I'm introducing you 10R. So I hope that there is no other person who is talking about 15 Rs. But this is what we have been preaching for last 20 years under eco-friendly volunteers from Sri Lanka. And this 10R is not only waste management, it is just the resource management. Because I told you, waste is not a term for us. It's a resource that we are managing. The garbage or the kitchen leftovers or plastics or clothing, whatever, that is a resource. That is what we have to manage. So we have to start managing this consciously. That is where we talk about conscious consumerism, starting with rejecting and refusing, reducing, reuse, repair, replace, recycle, and rethink. Always we have to rethink. That is where we are talking about eco-bricks. I'm sure that you have heard about it. And of course, remembering to repeat these actions. And if I go further, these are some examples you can reject in your life from you. It's depending on from individual to individual. I don't expect you to do whatever I am doing, but you can choose whatever you could do. You can reject using even paper straws, which we have done. We are not using any straws. If we have to use a straw, we are only using stainless steel straw. And it is readily available in my handbag, and wherever we go, we carry them with us. We are ready for that because we remember to do that. And you can definitely reject styrofoam plates or packaging, whatever not the bigger packaging, but small level packaging, plastic bottles, drinks in paper cups, because paper cups people think which is good, but it has a PE coating, polyethylene coating, which is also plastic, very bad. And of course, the season is coming for your celebrations, Diwali, whatever, all are coming. Why don't you reject wrapping paper plastic? And why don't you reject glittery stuff? And why don't you reject cling wrappers? All these are individual commitments. I saw the other day Diwali packaging, the nuts are packaged with cling film. Why can't you reject that? Why can't you stop buying that? So those are all individual things. And of course, balloons. Whenever there is a party in Vasant Vihar or Delhi, I see balloons. My God, plastic balloons. Why can't you reject them? And of course, the mesh bags like these are now readily available in the shops. Wherever you just go, and then these bags, everything comes here in the onion and everything. And of course, these bags, these are non-woven plastic. People think they are cloth bags because they don't feel like plastic, no sound, nothing. So all these things you can reject, or you can reduce. I am coming into that. So likewise, there are these, I don't have much time, but even chewing gum, wet wipes instead of handkerchiefs, these are the fashions. You can reject these things. If you can't reject, at least you can refuse, because refuse means it's not completely going out of your life, but sometimes you use, but most of the time you are not using them. So these are the examples that you can refuse. And of course, while you are rejecting and refusing, you can reduce all these things. So this is just consciously you are using these words. Okay, today I'm using them, but I'm not going to reject it, but I'm going to refuse it. So something like that, consciously consuming all these things. That is why 10R is quite easy, because you can practice, you can keep on developing and go for further actions very wisely. So you can reduce all these Tetra pads, bin liners and handbags even, because plastic handbags are plastic jewelry is there, shampoo, cosmetics, soap. And then of course you can reuse. Definitely many things you can reuse. I'm not going to tell you in details, but you can read, and of course repair. Those are the very old concepts we had, repair and replace. We always repair our clothes, shoes, and all the furniture, everything. So you can definitely do that and replace. If there is a new piece needed, replace and use it. You don't have to go for the disposable culture. So disposable culture is very much damaging us. And of course, recycling. Recycle coming into 7. You don't have to focus for recycling, because it is also emission of a lot of energy and carbon, which is increasing our climate change. So therefore, you don't have to buy anything just because the recycling is available. You can still reject, you can still reduce and refuse and think about it. Of course, then if there is still, you have to buy it, then buy it and then for recycling. And that is where you have to think about that. And of course, rethink about your natural alternatives. In my home, no detergents, all natural handmade soap, and I make my own bioenzyme, and no detergents coming in plastic bottles. Bamboo toothbrushes are there, and we carry our own cutlery. We use a lot of time ink pen, and therefore no plastic ballpoints, and then all the food is covered with cloth or beeswax papers, no plastic wrappers, no, we always use loofah sponges, Tory sponges, and of course coconut fiber brushes. So we use our own saris to make the bags, therefore we carry the sari bags whenever we do shopping. And eco bricks, we make all the eco bricks for non-recyclable plastics, and always we remember do all these things, and of course we repeat. So this is how we do 10R. And even though 10R is practiced, all these uninvited materials come into home, as I said, these mesh bags, and sometimes this non-woven, but most of the time we have rejected these. But therefore, when they come to your home, you have to be the responsible person for these. That is where these non-recyclable multi-layer polythenes going into the eco bricks like this. And then of course you can make the structures, or you can even give these for making roads, or even making other recyclables, but you are managing your own waste that way. And we are building like this small structures or toilets or play areas. And of course then these are photos are my dear friend Ashwani Kurana's property. They have made this meeting room with the eco bricks. So other two are one in British School Delhi and one in Sri Lanka. So we are making such structures with non-recyclable multi-layer polythene and plastics. So where we are not giving for dump yards or contributing for ocean pollution. So that is what I had to tell you. And this is all individual commitment. And we have the right to do this, because we can't wait until somebody else is going to do this or give us solutions. Until a better solution comes to us, we have to practice zero waste lifestyle if possible. Otherwise, wisely, consciously manage our own single-use plastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for that very empowering and enlightening talk. I would now like to invite Mr. Anup Kumar Srivastava, who is founder, director, and member of CAP, to deliver the vote of thanks. Because I do not see any questions in the chat box. If you do, if anyone does have questions in the about this conversation that we've had today, you can email us, or you still have a few more minutes to write the questions in the chat box.
Thank you very much, Nidhi. So it was a very enlightening experience today. A lot of viewpoints were shared, very interesting points were shared today. One thing is clear, the plastic is not the enemy. It is very rightly said. And that is why we have also been saying that campaign against plastic pollution, one has to note, is not campaign against plastic. It is campaign against plastic pollution. Plastic is definitely a very useful material, and it has many scientific and industrial use. It is used in aeroplanes, cars, computers, your mobile phones and whatnot, TV and all that. And all this plastic is not a problem. Problem has been created, as has been rightly pointed out, by the emergence of single-use plastics. Actually, the plastic is not a problem. What we do with it and how we use it is a problem. So what is that we have to do? Basically, we have to become more smart. We have to become smarter in using plastic in a way that plastic use does not cause any pollution. It is used in a way that it is sustainable and there is no pollution. So very interestingly, they were talk about, we have for long been talking about 3 Rs. United Nations Environment Program also talks about 3 R. Today, Dr. Satyendra Kumar talked about 6 Rs and Kanchana ji talked about 10 Rs. So very interesting. But the point is, again, use it wisely. And in using it wisely, what is hidden is that we have to use it less. We definitely cannot use the plastic in the quantity that we are using today. We cannot produce plastic in the quantity that we are producing today. It has to reverse. It has to come down. Our plastic usage has to come down by stopping single-use plastics. The one slogan that used by Kanchana ji was say no to single-use plastic. The slogan adopted by our organization has been stop single-use plastic. Single-use plastic is the biggest culprit, and very rightly said, the user of it is the double culprit. So we must eliminate single-use plastic from our life. I do not want to go in detail because it has already been mentioned in great detail as to how we have to reduce, how we have to eliminate the use of single-use plastic from our daily life. And as has been told by the previous speakers, the government of India has done quite a lot in first notifying the ban order on 12th August 2021. And these are most of those items, for most of the items in this banned list are included in the reject list of Kanchana ji. So basically we have to reject these items. These items will be banned from 1st July 2022. But why we wait for, as rightly said, why we wait for 26, 27, or why we wait for the items to be banned from 2022? We can stop, we can reject, we can start rejecting them right from today. So we have to act with that sense of energy at individual level, that we cannot go on with usage of single-use plastics anymore. It is very, very harmful for human beings, and it is very, very, it is outrageous for the other living creatures on earth. They, as rightly said, they have equal right to live as the humans have, and we cannot jeopardize their lives because of our bad habits. So we have to give up these bad habits. Sooner the better it is. And then the second initiative that has been taken by the government of India recently is in notifying the draft regulation on the extended producer responsibility on the plastic packaging items. And this, I think, is a very important milestone. This will encompass within itself a number of Rs which have been suggested by Kanchana ji. And definitely it is taking care of the reuse and recycle concept in a very big measure. And therefore, we must, as individuals, we should insist on the businesses and the industries to adopt this EPRs wholeheartedly. They should welcome it rather than opposing it, and they should discharge their responsibilities which has been enshrined in the EPR framework through these regulations. We must help the law enforcing authorities so that they are able to enforce these regulations effectively. As individuals, as civil society organizations, as NGOs, we can be watchdogs and bring to the notice of the government authorities like Central Pollution Control Board, State Pollution Control Board, municipal authorities, etc., as to who is violating the responsibilities enforced, initiated under the regulations for the EPR. And but as individuals, we need not wait for action to be taken either by the government or by any other body or by the industry or by the businesses. We can act, we can ourselves decide to become more responsible in this respect and shun and stop the single-use plastics once and forever. With these words, I thank you all very much. First of all, I thank Dr. Satyendra Kumar in absentia, who had given very useful information about the initiative, about the conceptual framework, and also the steps that the Government of India in the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change is taking. Then next, I thank Dr. Prashant Gargav, Member Secretary, also in absentia, and that he had been able to put in very succinctly the steps that the CPCB, Central Pollution Control Board, will be taking on two major counts. One, in enforcing the PWR, that is plastic waste management rules, and then the regulations about the EPR when they come into force. And secondly, facilitating, creating the ecosystem in which the alternatives to the single-use plastics are promoted, and so that it is easy to transit from single-use plastics to the other items which are eco-friendly, durable, and long-lasting. So after him, I thank Kanchana ji, who has given a very interesting presentation. I will request her, she knows my email, if she can if she can email this presentation to us, it will be useful for us for record and for assimilating some important lessons that we have learned from it. And then I thank all those members of the CAP who have spared their valuable time and come to attend this webinar. And finally, I will thank, I will be failing in my duty if I don't thank Nidhi Srivastava, who is a member of the CAP, who has very aptly handled and moderated this webinar, and who has created the webinar ad for this webinar after with taking very painstaking efforts. It takes a lot of time in doing that kind of work. Then finally, I thank my wife, Uma Srivastava, who is also a member of the CAP, for all the support she has been extending right from the beginning. And last but not least, I thank all the participants who have come here to attend this webinar. Whatever lessons that or whatever takeaways you are taking from this webinar, kindly share with your family members, with your friends, colleagues, and as many people as you come across in your life who are important in your life, so that this message, these lessons are spread across the larger population, and more people are educated and they become self-conscious, and they also stop shunning these single-use plastics, which are the major culprits in creating this havoc on the environment. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you.